on. Hello. It is Moderator Monday, and I'm Carody Kidwell, and I get to do Moderator Monday today and talk to you guys about the courses that we're going to be using for next school year. So I actually have 4 kids, 4 boys, and all 4 of them are going to be school age this year, so it's going to be new and different and exciting for us. So I have, my youngest is going into kindergarten, and my oldest is starting high school. So, yay, I'm not nervous at all. So, let's get this started. I'll tell you guys, for kindergarten, I'm super excited about it, because those will be coming out in July. But for my 5-year-old, he's going to be doing an activity book about letters and the Noah's Ark preschool activity book. He started it last year and he only got a few pages in, so he'll be finishing that up this year, just a little fun in his spare time. I have the N is for Noah book. This is the old version. It's a spiral bound. I think they're all actually book bound now. And D is for dinosaur. This one's actually really old. This was my mom's book, and she gave it to us, so we get to use it. Then we have the creation story for children and 44 animals of the Bible. And then, I love this set, The Big Thoughts for Little Thinkers. It's a 4-book set. Talks about the Trinity, the Scripture, the Gospel, and the Mission. So those are the books we're using for my kindergartner, along with the Simply K and Math K. Then we have my 8-year-old, and he finished 1st grade, started 2nd grade, kind of in the middle of this year. So I'll show you the books he is in. He is doing Math Lessons Level 2 and Language Lessons for Living Education Level 2. I love these books. He just told me last week how much he loves this book, and that is huge for him because he doesn't really like language arts, or he didn't think he did. I think it just took the right curriculum, right? So My Story 1, we started and we stopped using this for a little bit just because he needed to focus on reading, and he has a very limited capacity for school time. So we limited the history and the science that he was using, and we'll jump back in with those now that he's using language lessons too. We're using God's Design for Life for Beginners. He loves this book. Love, love, love. And, oh, yes, the coloring books. The D is for Dinosaur, N is for Noah, and A is for Adam. Coloring books. These are actually pretty detailed pictures. So I'm probably going to either make copies, or there are some copies of these. They're not in the files, I don't think. I think they're in. I'll find the link for the copies of these, because these, I think you can get the coloring sheets for free on the website somewhere. So I'll find the link and I'll post those after I do this video. So these have really good pictures, and there's a poem that walks you through the book and the letters. Dry Bones and Other Fossils. This is another one of, it was my mom's book and got passed down to me, and it's really fun. It's like a conversation that talks you through, it's a conversation between, I think, a parent and child, parents and children, about fossils. Let's see, the Marvels of Creation series. These 3, he's gonna love those. He loves animals, and he's totally into sea creatures right now. So, and then God's Amazing Creatures and Me. And we'll use this as part of our morning time. And this is an amazing one. I know everybody keeps talking about this one. It's one of my favorite books. Okay, let's see. Then is my 13-year-old, and he is going into 8th grade this coming year. So he will be using Principles of Mathematics 2. He's using 1 this year, and he loves it. He's my mathy kid. So he struggled a little bit at the beginning of it, just because the reading comprehension is higher than he's used to. But he likes and he also struggled a little bit with the word problems. Like, everything is related to real life. And when real life presents you with a math problem, it's usually in the form of a word problem. So he struggled a little bit with that at the beginning, but he's really seeing the purpose for all of the higher level math that he's learning now, so it's really good. Okay, we are doing writing strands, beginning 1. We'll be doing that, and he's going to be in 8th grade, so I'm going to go ahead and give him his own copy of the teaching companion, and then I have a copy and he has a copy, so that when I do a correction for him, we'll both be able to look at the book and read together. Then the Proverbs companion lesson book. It says for ages 9+. We'll be using this kind of as part of, we'll be considering it, I guess, Bible and language, because it has quite a bit of writing in it, and it has some activities, but it goes through Proverbs. Then for history, he will be using America's Story 2 and 3. We have studied a lot in early American history, and he needs to learn more about middle and modern American history. So he'll be reading through these, and if any of you know my style, I tend to not use teacher guides when it comes to history. We read and we do narration and map work and what else? We use a timeline and find the things on the timeline that we're studying. So for science, he'll be using General Science 1, which is Survey of Earth and Sky, so it's kind of an earth science. I've loaned out my Wonders of Creation set to my sister, so she's using it this year, and we'll get those back and use those next year. I put these in here. They're building blocks in earth science and then exploring the world around you, and these will kind of reinforce the things that he's learning in here. I'm going to have him read these, but I may or may not have him answer all the questions, just like the reinforcement of these. So, then we have a couple of apologetics books. Well, One Blood for Kids. This is what the Bible says about race. So he'll be going through that, and Quick Answers to Tough Questions. This is a really, really good book. All right, I think we're ready for my high schooler. He's actually the one taking the video right now, so he's grinning really big. He's so excited. He's going to be doing elementary algebra, and here's the textbook for that. Ta-da. For language, he'll be using Jensen's vocabulary. He's been going through writing strands, and we've been working on grammar as it relates to his writing through writing strands. He's going to take 2 years to go through vocabulary, and so the first year will be focused on, the first year is focused on Latin. The first half of the second year focuses on Greek, and then he'll also be using the Intro to Biblical Greek in that next year to finish out the second semester of the year. So vocabulary can be used over 2 years. For history, he's going to be doing Stovall's American History. I'm super excited about the teacher guide. Super, super excited. I can't tell you what a relief it is. This teacher guide is awesome now. They'll do 2 papers throughout the course of the year. One in the first semester, one in the second. It breaks it down into nice, neat little chunks. And the actual work that they do in the teacher guide is true and false and fill in the blank questions. So that'll be really nice. It's not all essays anymore. So, okay, next is science for my 9th grader. Life science, origins, and scientific theory. And we're totally excited about this one. I've heard awesome things about this course. So let's see. These 2 books, oh, they're heavy. These 2 books go with that one. And there's a couple of videos too. We'll get those later. Okay. Also, could be considered science. I'm going to call this one an elective for him. The Survey of Science, History, and Concepts. And these use 4 books by John Hudson Tyner, who we found out this year that we really like John Hudson Tyner. We're doing applied engineering this year. And one of the little books, I think it's called Champions of Invention, is written by Tyner. And we really like that book. So we explored Tyner a little bit and found this course, and we're like, yeah, we want to do this one. Goes into physics, biology, mathematics, and what's the other one? Chemistry. And the history of each of those. Okie dokie. Then we have, for his apologetics, he'll be using cultural issues, creation, evolution, and the Bible. And it goes through the New Answers books 1 and 2. You got a big stack there, Greg. Here are his videos. One of them goes with the algebra. This is Callahan's algebra teaching videos, and these 2 go with the life science. Okay, everything else that I have is extra books that we're going to be using with a few of the courses. So for morning meeting and for just fun time and fun reading and letting them explore. We have God's Big Book of Animals. This book is amazing. It is really big. I don't know if you can tell how big this thing is, but it is a big book, and it is so cool. Oh, look what I opened up to. I think I'm going to close that now. Okay, God's Big Book of Animals. Then we have Wonders of Creation. This one's new as well. And my older kids will be going through this one, not as a course, but we like to explore extra books. So this one has a lot of science information in it. Some extra history books that I found. If you noticed, my oldest and my second oldest, they are going to be 9th and 8th grade. And they're both studying American history. They're using 2 different courses to do it. But since we're both studying American history, I picked up some extra books for us to read. My oldest is a huge reader, and it's hard to keep up with him sometimes. Yes, that's you. It's hard to keep up with him. So I got extra books for him to read. So we got For You They Signed. I'll have him read this about the Declaration of Independence. I didn't get it as the course because, like I said, it's going to be extra reading. Then there's a story behind this one. So 2 years ago, we used Master Books for the first time, and I picked Biographies of the Revolution for my 2 older boys to use. And they really liked the course, but they wanted the timeline of the course. They liked to study the biographies, but they repeatedly requested that I purchase the timeline book, and I kept forgetting every time I placed an order. So I finally got you your book, Griffin. So he's going to be able to read this one along with the American history. This one, One Nation Under God, America's Lost Dream. This one looks good. I just searched for America in the top bar, and I think I bought one of pretty much everything, all of the America books. Take Back the Land by Rick Boyer, inspiring a new generation to lead America. This one looks really good. We have 3 of the books from Christian History, Biographies of the Faith. I think that's what the title of the course is. The Life of John Newton, Life of Washington, and Life of Andrew Jackson. And if you guys have seen these books, they are just beautiful. They are beautiful books. The language is older because they were originally published in 1831 and 1842. So they're older books, older language, but the content is extremely good. So he'll be able to read through those. Okay, I'm saving that one for last because I'm excited about that one. G.I. Joe and Lily, which I think Griffin has already read, but I might read this one out loud with my kids because there's a lot of good discussions to be had with that one. There's two smaller books. Again, these are tinier books. Yay, I'm excited. The Pledge of Allegiance and In God We Trust. So those two. Okay, this one I'm really excited about. This one is William Wilberforce. So I have a book that is probably for Griffin to read. Sammy might be interested in this one, my 8th grader. But The Life, Deeds, and Historical Days of William Wilberforce. And then this one is Wilberforce, an activity book, 24 ready-to-use lesson plans. So I'm excited about that one as well. It's got fun stuff in it and little lessons about William Wilberforce. And I think all my kids will like that one. Okay, that is all I have. That is what we're using next year. If you have any questions, just comment and ask your questions. I will post a list of everything that I'm using next year. So if you have any questions about individual courses, you can ask them there. Bye, guys.